All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking an absolutely fascinating, definitely slightly absurd, but actually profoundly deep journey into the philosophy of fleeting moments. We're going to explore how our total indifference to unrepeatable instants makes us miss out on true genius, and how sometimes the highest forms of art are born not on a canvas, but in the chaotic, completely terrifying middle of a soccer riot. And since we're breaking down this incredible slice of Argentine pop culture, we are bringing everything to you in English so you can catch every single brilliant, chaotic detail. So, to really understand this masterpiece, we first have to understand the canvas of life itself. The author of our source material starts off with a pretty stark philosophical premise. Going all the way back to the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus, life has basically been defined as a rough river, an endless path. The poet Machado wrote that the path is made by walking. Why? Well, because you literally have to hack your way through the weeds. This path is, at its core, a relentless succession of defeats. Some are tiny, some are massive, but they are just persistently wearing us down. I mean, think about it. We start as a baby, then we transition into a kid. Suddenly, before you know it, people are calling you sir, then grandpa, and finally, it's just rest in peace. Time really does conquer us all. It's the ultimate undefeated opponent. Even billionaires like Bill Gates will eventually be conquered by time and decay. In the grand scheme of this whole timeline, the so-called winners in life, they're really just the people who are best at hiding their defeats. Ultimately, every single one of us is marching toward a very specific four-digit number, the year stamped on a tombstone. It's the exact, undeniable opposite of a birthday. And as the author jokingly notes, expiration dates really belong on yogurt, not on people. But it's waiting for all of us. Okay, moving on to section 1, fleeting triumphs and why we actually keep going. So if life is just this endless river of defeats, ending in a four-digit expiration date, why on earth do we keep going? Well, because the universe occasionally tosses us these tiny, accidental, incredibly fleeting personal triumphs. Maybe it's catching a rock star's tambourine at a concert or casually bumping into a celebrity. These moments pass in an absolute flash, but we cling to them to create this illusion of permanence. But what happens when we shift from the accidental to the intentional? What if a super gifted genius actually manages to pre-calculate and construct one of these totally unrepeatable moments? What if someone creates an instant so perfect it transcends everyday life and actually becomes art? Seriously, I want you to ask yourself right now, what is the greatest modern work of art? Well, according to our source material, the answer isn't a painting, it's not a sculpture, it is a 5-word plea, delivered by an eccentric Argentine TV hairstylist, a coiffeur, named Roberto Giordano. Right in the face of absolute terrifying danger, he uttered a sentence that by the sheer flawless perfection of its absurdity, achieved total immortality. He simply said, "Don't hit me, I'm Giordano." Our author argues with absolute, straight-faced academic seriousness that Giordano actually belongs in the pantheon of historical giants. I'm talking Leonardo da Vinci, Copernicus, Galileo, and yes, Roberto Giordano. The thesis here is that true giants always hide their essence. Giordano's entire life was essentially a carefully constructed piece of conceptual art, designed to make all of us believe he was just a ridiculous TV hairstylist, all so he could perfectly deliver this single, immortal line. Which brings us to section 2, the canvas of a soccer riot. To really appreciate the genius here, we have to look at the canvas. This wasn't happening in some pristine, quiet art gallery or on a safe theater stage. This was a terrifying real-world scenario. Look at these ingredients. Giordano is at a soccer match between Boca Juniors and River Plate. Now, if you're not familiar, this is one of the most heated, violent, and dangerous rivalries in all of global sports. And there he is, wearing the bright blue and gold jersey of Boca. And he is entirely surrounded by enraged, highly intoxicated River Plate fans who are violently looking for absolutely any excuse to unleash their fury. He has basically bought every single winning ticket in the lottery for a massive beating. Tragedy is literally seconds away. Any normal person would be crying, screaming for the police, or begging for their life. But what does Giordano do? He deploys incredibly high-level irony. He doesn't say help. He looks at this mob and says, "Don't hit me," takes a pause. "I'm Giordano." It's an absolutely baffling, completely unexpected deployment of irony right in the face of imminent doom. And that takes us to section 3, irony and conceptual art. The author considers this survival tactic to be a heavily calculated piece of conceptual art. By invoking his totally minor, trivial television fame as a literal shield against a violent mob, He created an aesthetic masterpiece. When we look at accepted high art, Marcel Duchamp placing a urinal in an art gallery, or Andy Warhol painting cans of Campbell's soup, those guys challenge the fundamental definition of what art even is. But our author argues that these 5 words from Giordano push that boundary way further. It's a poem simpler than a haiku, yet totally overflowing with multiple meanings and flawless spontaneity. The absolute genius lies in the setup. Step 1. You cultivate a ridiculous voice, a ridiculous profession, and a completely ridiculous persona over the course of decades. Step 2, you willingly walk right into an absurd, life-threatening situation wearing the wrong team's colors. And step 3, you deliver the punchline. If his name was literally anything else, or if his life hadn't been completely saturated with absurdity prior to this exact moment, the phrase just wouldn't work. It was an entire lifetime of preparation for a 5-word payoff. What Giordano does here is honestly cosmically arrogant and deeply poetic. He isn't just asking a mob of angry fans to stop. He's literally asking the universe to suspend its physical laws. He is asking the sun to revolve around the earth. It's like standing on the deck of the sinking Titanic, and instead of yelling for help, shouting, "Don't sink, I'm DiCaprio," he is asking reality itself to bend, simply because of who he is. All right, section 4, miracles, muses, and geniuses. So, how do these impossible, miraculous moments actually happen? Do we create them, or do they just happen to us? Our source actually contrasts true, unexplainable genius with mere human effort. Think about the legendary soccer player Diego Maradona, who gifted the world 2 completely irrepeatable, miraculous moments in a single game against England. That right there is pure genius. Now compare that to Gary Lineker, an English player who scored a totally standard header in that exact same game. Lineker used talent and hard work, for sure, but his goal is basically forgotten by time. Maradona's moments, much like Giordano's, completely defy logic. True masterpieces are a gift from beyond, not just a product of trying really hard. Just look at the historical company Giordano is keeping here. History is absolutely full of these accidental miracles. An apple randomly falling on Isaac Newton's head, Marcel Proust dipping a Madeleine cookie into tea and suddenly unlocking a literary masterpiece, Charlie Garcia dropping his pants, the philosopher Diogenes telling Alexander the Great, literally the most powerful man on earth at the time, to step aside just because he was blocking his sunlight. These are singular, miraculous events that require a perfect, totally unrepeatable alignment of the universe. The author's conclusion here is pretty striking. Geniuses don't actually exist in the way we usually think they do. Instead, unknown forces, let's just call them the muses, take possession of us for a brief second. For that one tiny moment, we are merely ventriloquists. The universe speaks through us to create something immortal. Finally, section 5, catch the fleeting moment. So, when the universe decides to use you as a ventriloquist for a miracle, what are you supposed to do about it? Well, it boils down to one of the oldest philosophies we have, carpe diem, seize the day. It's the profound realization that your only option is the here and now. The past is just a memory. The future is totally uncertain. You only have what is in your hands at this exact second. It is quite literally now or never. If you ever find yourself in the middle of a miracle, step 1, recognize it. Step 2, whatever you do, do not make a scene. Don't go frantically looking for a camera or a witness to prove it happened to you. If you put too much emphasis on it, you're going to scare it away. And step 3, simply enjoy it. Sip it quietly before it inevitably fades right back into that endless river of defeats. Because the truth is, we all have them. Those heavenly little moments where life hands us something perfectly unexplainable, something that belongs only to you right in the here and now. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this one thought to ponder. What is your irrepeatable, miraculous moment? When did the universe stop just for you? Keep it safe, don't scare it away, and remember to always look out for the next one. Thanks so much for joining me.